Before I call this meeting to order here, I'd like to ask if the members participating on the Zoom, when you make a motion, if you can actually say your name, because a lot of times it sounds out the same and kind of difficult to know who it is. Appreciate that. So I'd like to call the Highway and Building Committee meeting of Thursday, March 11th, 2021 to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kinzinger? Here. Mr. Carrico?
Here.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Tholen? Ms. Weber?
Present.
Mr. Featherling?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Dunnell? Mr. Hunter? Ms. Bryan?
Here.
Mr. Collins?
Present.
Ms. Hudson?
Present.
Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Searoyd?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I don't have any public comments on my desk here, so moving on to approve the minutes from February 11, 2020. If I can have a motion to approve the minutes. Okay, so Mr. Kinzinger, do I have a second? Mr. Long? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Yes.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Ms. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Alexander? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on, we go to Highway with Mr. Rogers here, and I don't believe we have any bids today. Oh, sorry.
No, we have no bids this morning.
Okay, moving on to the county engineer's pay estimates.
I do have a few of those this morning. The first one I have this morning is for the county's 2021 general maintenance, and this is a pay estimate made out to Compass Minerals America. This is for the salt that was delivered to our salt shed, and that amount is $87,785.34. Next is for Kankakee Township's 2020 general maintenance. This is for salt delivered to the township made out to Morton Salt, and that amount is $3,344.67. Next is for Kankakee Township Road District for their 2021 general maintenance. This is made to Morton Salt. This is for salt delivered to the township, and that amount is $7,081.85. Next is Pembroke Township Road District for their 2021 general maintenance. This is made out to Pembroke Township Road District Treasurer. This is for equipment rental, and for those of you that don't know what equipment rental is, there is it is an eligible use of motor fuel tax for the township to use their equipment and charge hours of a rate that IDOT sets, and they can turn in those hours, and then we write them a check out of their MFT that goes to their general fund. So that amount is $35,280.54. Next is for St. Anne Township Road District for their 2021 general maintenance. This is made out to the St. Anne Township Road District Treasurer for equipment rental, and that amount is $25,000. And lastly is for section 16-00243-02-RS. This is for the local share of construction on the St. George Road Bridge overpass. This is for the some of the local share, which we will be billing the Village of Bourbonnais for 50% of this. But that amount is $31,093.85.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the county engineer's pay estimates, please? Okay. Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Hess. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kinzinger? Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Ms. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Alexander?
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Moving to resolutions.
Okay, the first thing in your packet and on the agenda today is a letter of understanding that was sent to Chairman Wheeler. This is a letter from the Department of Transportation, basically a letter of understanding, and the reason for the letter of understanding is that for these improvements on Illinois Route 50 and Armour Road. The letter of understanding is because they send these out because there is a jurisdictional transfer involved. So the county, right now, County Highway 44, which is Armour Road, the state has jurisdiction from Route 50 to Lock Drive, which is where Steak and Shake is. And then our County Highway 54 begins there at Lock Drive and goes east. Well, when they do these improvements at the intersection of Armour and Route 50, they're going to improve from Route 50 to Lock and want the county to take jurisdiction and maintenance of that section of roadway. So this is just an agreement saying that we agree that, yes, they're going to do the improvements and that will take over jurisdiction after the improvements are completed.
Okay. Yes, Mr.
Maybe
Kinzinger.
I'm reading this incorrectly, but I'm looking at a resolution that talks about an hot mix overlay on Mantino to Zelm Road.
Further back.
That's the next one.
Farther back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Illinois Department of Transportation.
Well, that's not a resolution.
Right before that one is. Resurfacing Highway 9 that's out of order.
Yeah.
The resolution is in the packet. It's out of order in the packet. The
Maybe-
letter is after that.
Maybe Kelly didn't give it to me.
Yeah, I don't have one either.
Kelly.
It's the letter that's in front of you,
This is
right
the letter.
there.
This is,
That's
the letter.
it, yes.
okay.
And we're bringing it because Andy needs authorization to sign the letter.
So now it's a question. So I got the letter headed Illinois Department of Transportation, which discusses what you indicated.
Yes,
There's also a resolution for, that's coming later?
yes.
Thank you. I'm on.
Thank you. Any other comments, any questions for Mr. Rogers? Can I have a motion to approve the resolution? Can I have, yes, go ahead.
Shouldn't that be approve the letter of understanding? It's
Approve
not
the
a
letter of
resolution.
understanding,
I think
correct,
that's where the confusion is. A letter of understanding.
correct.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes,
Hey, Mark,
go ahead.
how come they don't want to they're going to do all that work on top of it and pay for most of it, and then they don't want the land until after that? Is that a liability reason, or what is that, you know?
The state currently has a few unmarked state routes around the county. Armour Road from Convent or Route 45 down there by Walgreens and Kroger, that used to be an unmarked state route all the way to Route 50 to Lock. Well, when they did those improvements on Armour Road from the railroad tracks west to Convent, the agreement was that the Village of Bourbonnais would take over maintenance and jurisdiction. So
Okay.
basically the state is doing all the improvements and saying, okay, we're gonna do these, but we want you to take maintenance and jurisdiction. So it's the same
Okay.
thing with this. They're going to be doing all of these improvements, and then they want a local authority to take maintenance and jurisdiction because it's not a state route.
Okay,
Now, the
Gotcha.
west side, that is gonna go to the Township of Bourbonnais. So they have a similar letter that they have to execute saying that they'll take it so that they'll proceed with the plans.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm going to start with the Zoom. If I can have a motion authorizing the county board chairman to execute the letter of understanding with Illinois Department of Transportation for IL 50 in Armour Road.
Hudson.
Who was that again?
Featherling and
Hudson.
Oh,
Hudson.
Hudson, thank you. This is Hudson. On the room, do I have a second? Okay, Mr. Kinzinger, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Ms. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Alexander? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
All right, moving on to the next resolution.
Okay, the next one is a resolution authorizing the county board chairman to sign a local agency agreement and appropriate funds for resurfacing of County Highway 9. I passed out a map, and I don't know if Kelly, if the Zoom people can see the map or not. We are planning to overlay with federal funds County Highway 9, which is 9,000 north from Route 45 all the way to DeZelm Road. And this resolution, the state has a local agency agreement that needs to be executed. And this project is, we have an estimate of $1,583,000. The feds pay 80%, and we are responsible for 20%. The state wants assurance that we will appropriate the money, for one thing, and that we need a resolution authorizing the board chairman or his designee to sign the agreement.
Questions and comments?
Mr. Chairman again.
Yes.
Mark, is that supposed to be a 4-lane improvement with the boulevard and everything, or are you just resurfacing the?
No, this is
road?
just resurfacing from 45 going west to DeZelm.
Okay. So the section in between there, that's a different section then?
Yes.
Okay. Is that in the works too?
It is in the tip.
Okay.
We're through the MPO. We're working on MPO funds for that.
Okay. Okay.
Anybody else? Zoom? Here? Nope. Right, so I need a motion for resolution authorizing the county board chairman to sign a local agency agreement and appropriate funds of resurfacing of CH9. Do I have a motion? Okay, Mr. Long, second by? Okay, Mr. Bryan, roll call please.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Aye.
Mr. Carrico?
Aye.
Mr. Hess?
Aye.
Ms. Weber?
Aye.
Mr. Featherling?
Aye.
Mr. Long?
Aye.
Ms. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Ms. Hudson?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Alexander? Mr. Wheeler? Motion carries.
Thank you. Any other questions from Mr. Rogers? Do we have anything else, Mr. Rogers?
I do not.
No? Anybody? Any question? No? Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Have a good day. Next, Mr. Andrews. Good morning.
Morning.
So, Mr. Andrews, what do we have for us today?
All right, we'll start with the facility dude report for the month of February. Had 130 work orders in the system, pretty typical month from that aspect. Moving on to the financial report that you have in front of you. Nothing real glaring here. Really the only discrepancy from one year to there's a couple miscellaneous services, 56,400. That's going to be outside repairs by contractors. You can see we're down considerable amount there when compared to the prior year actual. Prior year was 24,345.91. We're sitting at 3,936.49. I can assure you that won't stay like that. The other one is 87,510. That's building improvements, and we've talked about that at previous meetings. The lion's share of that is the improvements here at 189 for our door access system down in the lobby. So like I said, everything else is pretty straightforward. If there's anything that looks amiss, I'm happy to take any questions on that.
Any questions from Mr. Andrews?
All right, if no.
Okay, we have a question.
Got a
here
question?
from Mrs. Bryan.
Oh, hello.
Hi. 87,510, does that include the elevator in that $5,000?
No, that is strictly, that's building improvements. That was for the just for the pad that goes on the wall down
Okay.
at the, and then they're redoing the door opening system. So when you open, it opens automatically.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on.
All right, building report, we'll start here at 189. Spoke with Kone yesterday. They've been out multiple times going through the elevators, the elevator shafts, doing their survey, doing their inspections. They've got preliminary drawings that have been completed. Those are currently with their vendors and our vendor that we selected to do the work by others. So they're working through that right now. I'm still waiting on a project commencement ETA. So as soon as I have that, I will share it with everybody, but I do not have that date yet. So that's really all I have with regards to the elevators at this time. But I'll continue to stay on top of that and have a date for you, hopefully. I'll have a date before next month's meeting, but that shall be something that's on the top of my priority list moving forward. We have a broken window in the assessor's office. Many of you have probably seen the sidewalk over here. We've got some barricades up. We've already contacted our vendor. Hopefully today they should be out to fix that window. Now is probably a good time to go over the insurance claim back from last year. I requested and received a spreadsheet of the claim and all the checks that have been issued. So I'm going to get with Steve and Anita and go through all the checks received and check that against all the different projects, because my experience with insurance claims, it all goes into one claim. You get one check, maybe two, but that's not the case with this one. We've gotten probably 7 different checks for different parts of the claim. So I just want to make sure that, you know, it's comprehensive and that everything's been covered. So that's something that I'll be working on probably next week and can have a better update as to where we stand on the insurance claim and all the checks. But all of the repairs have been completed with related to that storm damage, with the major exception being the elevator. Any questions on that? Insurance claim? Okay. Courthouse, something we've had an issue with. I've talked about it at previous meetings. We had an issue in the state's attorney's office a couple months ago with regards to, you know, as we continue to grow at the courthouse and we continue to put more lights and more printers and more desks and more computers, it's really becoming a strain on the electrical system at the courthouse. And we ran another circuit to SAO, which took care of that. We have an issue now. It's not now. It's been occurring over the last several months. The lights are flickering in the Judge Kramer's area. That would be on the first floor, the northeast corner of the building. So we've had a contractor come out. They've looked at it. It seems to get better when we take some items off the electrical system, like a refrigerator. We unplugged a refrigerator. It seems to improve the problem. So those are things that I'm working through right now. Obviously, if it's as easy as unplugging something, well, then that's what we'll do. However, in my world, nothing ever seems to be that easy. So we'll see if that takes care of it. If it doesn't, we may be looking at doing something similar to what we had to do up in the state's attorney's office. Let's see what else we got here. Courthouse Eastside compressor, that's done. If you recall, we put a new compressor in last year. We got a few months use out of it and it stopped working. So that was a warranty issue. That has been completed as of yesterday. They filled it up, powered it up, and that is now operational. Basement remodel and the grant application for the courthouse. Been working with Doug Bright, Ben Wilson, who's in the back here today. He has an update for us as well. Been working with Ben and then Chris on the budget worksheet. Ben's been working on the application with DCEO for the grant. So with that, Ben, do you want to provide kind of an update where we stand with the application process for that grant?
Yeah, thank you. So I guess from a staff perspective, and we're going to need some action from the full board. We received an updated cost estimate from Mr. Bright. We have a $400,000 allocation, as you remember, and right now the current estimate's about $664,000. Now, in talking with Wes and going back, this is kind of a full-blown project from Mr. Bright, so we wanted it designed appropriately, but there becomes a question of what is the county's participation in this? Is this something we can afford? I think, talking to Chairman Wheeler this morning, this is an actionable item by the Finance Committee, but we certainly want this committee to know, kind of as we're working through this process, for us, we'll be submitting a grant application with that 660 number, because this grant does not require a local match component, being an appropriation, so it's not how we're going to be scored. So there's a possibility here where if we go through this and find, after working with Steve in finance and saying we can maybe afford 150,000 on top of the 400,000, we would then adjust that scale back. But we want to move forward with the plans that we have. But it's just a scenario. I don't want any of the board members to say, well, that's way more than we thought it was going to be. We didn't know until we finalized that with Mr. Bright what that cost was going to look like.
And then just a update on that cost so everybody's aware, that is kind of a wish list type drawing that we put together. If you remember, we had him look at some of the areas that were currently used for storage, and we said, yeah, we'd like to know what we can get down there, what will work comfortably. So he's designed in the northeast corner of the basement some bullpen area that would be enough, I think, for about 15 different open area desks. I call it bullpen type seating with partitions and whatnot. So that's something that, due to COVID, would it be nice to have some additional area for maybe Sandy's folks, to expand into, for social distancing or what have you. And then that's also expanding into jury assembly on the north side of that. So the initial drawings that Doug had done years back didn't include expanding jury assembly, and it didn't include creating more office area in the northeast corner of the basement. So if those are things that we don't want to do, the 660 is going to be reduced. So it's just a question of, are those items that we still want to consider.
Mr. Kinzinger?
Yeah, you might want to consider let Doug do what he's got, but look at it as a base and an alternate with some of your options as an alternate so that it can go out for bid. We can literally do the job, and depending upon money, we can do more, but we haven't wasted anybody's time.
Okay.
Chairman Wheeler?
The committee should be aware and really take into account of the space needs analysis that is, I believe, one more person to be interviewed. I think that's court security is the last interview. But we have issues within the circuit clerk's office with crowding. We don't have the proper width on the aisles, ADA. The bullpen area is something that you're going to get recommendations maybe next month, or when it's all written up, we'll have a draft and a presentation for the committee. But also consider that now that the county is being provided the $21.4 million out of the COVID relief package, we are probably going to add like the UV biological killer things that go by the air vents. Look at our HVAC for that building, because air circulation, jury assembly, that's COVID related, and we should address that in these plans. So it may evolve based on what just happened yesterday with the House passing the bill. So I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear, because that may require another set of drawings or at least cost estimates. But know that I don't think we're going to have issues with funding this based on what we're getting, because it makes sense for what we're doing at the courthouse. Space needs, COVID, air filtration, jury assembly, which you can't have overcrowding in that area, taking the pressure off the courthouse. It's coming together at the right time, I guess, is what I'm getting.
And then the other component of that is storage. So once we remove the storage that's down there, we're going to have to find storage elsewhere, whether that's digitally or whether that's brick and mortar somewhere. We'll leave that up to the chairman and Sandy as to which direction they're headed there, but we will need potentially more space somewhere to relocate all those files that are down there.
Anybody else? Any other questions, comments?
Okay.
Do you have anything?
No, that's it. Thanks, Ben. I got more, but nothing on that topic. The annex in the old jail, nothing to report at the annex. The old jail, we've had a variety of plumbing related issues, which is, typical from month to month. The largest being the dish machine pump for the dishwashing machine at the old jail. Had some serious issues with that. That's since been fixed. The soft start motor at the elevator, we've talked about that in months past. That is now done and sounds great. The last thing I have at the old jail, and I guess looking for some direction from the committee. We talked last year about power washing the old jail, and I said that's something that I was going to put off until this spring. It's going to be a significant expense. It needs it. Are we at a point now that we want to consider looking at or collecting bids for the power washing at the old jail? Any comments on that?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Federland.
Yeah. Hey, Wes, we talked about that last year, and you say significant cost. That's kind of like a weird thing to me to say. I mean, I know what you're saying is you're not sure, but is that like $1 million or $500,000 or 200 grand, or just take a guess? I would never hold you to it. I mean, is this something that's way out there that we're not going to be able to?
No, I've got I believe I have one bid on my desk, and I want to say it was just under 10 grand, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay, that's okay. To me, significant cost is like $1 million.
No, well, to me, significant is anything that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Not budgeted, anything that is, carpet cleaning, painting, stuff that is, beautification type stuff. We've never been in a position to spend monies on things other than necessity. So power washing is not a necessity. So I just want to know.
Some of these things that you have to do inside the building, like you're just talking about the carpet and the cleaning and all that stuff, is that something we can put under the COVID money and then use the money for that to do the power washing that was left over? Or, can you reappropriate the funds for the COVID money?
I think you'd be a tough sell. We're having exterior power washing related to COVID, but maybe Andy would know more.
Could you use the COVID money to pay for some of the improvements in the jury assembly area and stuff, and then
definitely
have some left from that to power wash the building?
Yeah, definitely.
I have a question.
I'll get together with you.
Okay.
I have a question related to something that we did a long time ago. I remember, if I'm correct with my memory here, we did put some shower doors, right? Back in the days. It was just an experiment, putting some to see how things were going.
Yeah.
How is that going with those shower doors?
It's going very well. We installed, as opposed to the curtains that we've been using out at the jail, we put in, I think it was last year or the year before, actual durable plastic doors instead of having to go through shower curtains, and that went very well. I mean, that's something that, if we want to take a look at doing more of those, I would recommend that. The shower curtains are not cheap, and we go through them pretty fast. So if that's something that the committee wants to look at, I would be on board with that.
Mr. Kinzinger?
I was always told that you can be poor and still be clean. And I recommend that we seriously consider first impressions at the old jail and wash the exterior.
Okay.
Also, whenever initial cost makes sense in terms of longevity, so the shower doors is something that I think you should probably come back to us with a recommendation I recommend we do this.
Okay, yeah, we can do that for sure. So on the power washing, are we all in agreement then? I'll get some bids on that, and we'll take. No, it's not in the budget.
Then somebody better talk to somebody first. But I'm for this, from my standpoint on this committee, I'm for it, but I can't authorize anything.
Right. So if we're for it, I'll get some numbers together, and then we can decide how for it we are.
Okay.
Okay.
Chairman?
I just thought of something. I get one idea a day. Before we had budgeted the two custodians, last year they were paid for by COVID money. This year they were in the budget not being paid for by COVID money. We've got 10 grand. Does that make sense? Because now we're going to be able to pay them with the new COVID money. So we're money ahead. You can get bids because we have just freed up, with the new bill, we have just freed up the cost of 2 employees.
All right.
Make sense?
Good idea.
One a day.
You got it. JCDC, really not a whole lot there to report. We had some issues on a weekend a couple weeks back. Johnson Controls network issue. We lost one of our air handlers, so I had to have them come out on a weekend to get that fixed and up and running. So really focused over the next month in getting our mechanicals ready to go as temperatures are on the rise, hopefully. Cleanup, exterior cleanup around the buildings. We've started some of that with all the snow melt and just seeing garbage everywhere. That's something that we're working on there as well. But that's about it. So if there's any questions on the report, I'm happy to take them now. If not, that's all I got.
Any questions, any comments? Any question for Mr. Andrews here? Nope.
Mr. Chairman, one quick one.
Yes.
Mr. Andrews, there's products that you can put on the building after it gets washed that eliminate that coming back for quite some time. And then also they're using like a media, like crushed walnut shells with water so that there isn't, it doesn't actually damage the concrete as much as just the water would. So
Okay.
we could into using like a media blast too, get two numbers, one with water, one with media, and then one with the treatment to protect it so that it doesn't happen again for a long time.
Okay. Yeah, we can look into that. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Mrs. Brian, do you have a question?
When you do power washing, do you usually follow up? Like sometimes it does a little damage, so should we have money in the budget to correct any damages that is done, or would that be in the contracted bid?
I would think that whoever we select to do that kind of work would need to select a process that would have that wouldn't damage the building. I mean, if you're, those people that do that for a living, whether Mr. Fredling's talking about media blasting, that could be sandblasting, that could be a variety of different media. Is it going to be water? Whatever we do, and whoever does it is going to have to give us a proposal to do it in a fashion that's not going to significantly damage the building. So, I mean, I think that would be something on the front end that we would want to make sure does not happen. And then if it does, whoever does it would be, in my mind, would be liable for whatever damages arose.
Mr. Chairman?
Those are all going to be in the bid specs. So when we release the bid, they'll understand what the type of bond they have bonded, insurance, everything, and what our expectations are. Mm-hmm. And if, prevailing wage, all of that stuff that we're bound to. So yeah. That would be on them.
I mean, they can adjust water pressure. I mean, if it's, you don't want to go in there and, have your water pressure set too high where you're, leaving marks on the building, et cetera. So that's something that we'll want to make sure we take care of on the front end.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Okay. Any old business to come before this committee? Any old business? Ms. Chairman?
I know people are going to be so excited to hear this. We can have 37 people in this room now.
Whoa.
So we're getting the band back together, maybe. So in the executive committee, we're going to have a kind of a protracted discussion on coming back in the room for those that are either at risk or are not comfortable coming back in the room. They don't have the vaccine, whatever that might be. But we can fill up all of the seats here for board members in the full board and committee meetings. We'll be discussing the rules of Zoom, the etiquette for Zoom. We'll be defining what present in a meeting is defined as. And we're going to go through those motions and that discussion in executive committee, and then approve something at the full board for when we're all back together. So, you'll know what the rules are, what the expectations are, but we're going to be able to put more chairs in the back. So it's per the governor's orders, we are able to get that number 37
for next month.
For next month for the full board. So I think a lot of people want to have a discussion about how we are acting as public officials on Zoom, and the rules, and things like your face should be present when you're voting so we can see who's voting. All of those different things that we really need to have a conversation on. The noise in the background, taking phone calls, all the things that I thought we addressed, and we'll bring that back. And under that'll be a definition of present in the meeting, and it'll be my recommendation that per diem is tied to that. So we'll just talk more about that when the time comes. But the good news is we can all come back in the room. we can't have 40 people in the back, you know, as far as the public goes, but we broadcast meetings and that should be okay.
Any questions for Chairman Wheeler? Yes, Mr. Hess?
Thank you, Chairman. Andy, would we still do the public comment by phone then? Because you don't have an idea how many public comment people you would have.
We haven't got through that yet. We have a request to the SAO. I think we should, for the time being, maybe have both to let people know, because people still aren't comfortable interacting with public. There's still at-risk people out there that haven't had shots. That's my own personal opinion. It can't go on forever. Hopefully this virus doesn't go on forever in the form it has been, but that's just the thought that I have. But the SAO is gonna help us out with some direction on that. So,
Mr. Huckster?
Andy, maybe it might be a good idea to consider a first come, first serve. If they want to, if somebody wants public comment, they have an option if they want to come in and do it physically, or if they want to do it over the phone, and then you have a limited number that can actually come in, and then
I think our
can participate over the phone.
Our county code only speaks to the overall time limit for public comment. I don't know if we can do first come, first serve, or we'll put the question to the SAO.
Well, as I said, if the back is basically set up for the public.
Right. Well, if it's all full here,
Right.
then people will be standing in the hallway, coming to the microphone,
Right.
and then going back out.
Right.
So there will only be enough chairs for, you know, like media. And if
Right.
another media shows up, then one of the chairs gets removed back there.
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. We have to stick with that number. It is a firm number.
Okay.
It just
Yeah, it is. We'll bounce it.
Anything else under old business? Any new business to come before this committee? Any new business? Any other business?
It's your turn, Martin.
Okay, Mr. Roger.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we close this meeting.
Okay.
I would second that.
Okay.
That's the only bad part about coming in here.
All right, so let's start with Zoom. Let's start with Zoom. Everybody in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The same sign if you don't want it. If you want to stay here for another hour or two. No? Anybody in the room here? Signify by say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, the same sign. Motion is adjourned.